What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another live episode of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. I am having a mostly fantastic day. There is one slight problem. For whatever reason, we had done a test on Instagram and it was looking good. And then all of a sudden we went to go live and it said, nah, fam, we're not doing that. So other than that, in a pretty good mood. So what we're going to have to do is a lo-fi version of this show for the YouTube, but you guys don't have to worry about it. If you're watching this right now, you're watching the clean, the beautiful version of this. So you guys are going to get the nice stuff with all the graphics. Nonetheless, I put a question at the top of this show if you were watching the countdown, and it was to ask you, what exactly were your favorite moments, or what are you enjoying about, this whole scenario that we're seeing with UFC BJJ? And I see a few of you. I see this. Have a great day. I subbed. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. We love seeing that. And I love mac and cheese as well. So I think I am within good company here. But that's not the only comment we got over here. I do see somebody, and I'm wondering if this is one of the homies, but another comment popped up that said, third. Eric De La Vega, yes, that is a third. Now, here's where I want to make sure this is a very important question we got. Is this a recording? No. Because how could I respond to you unless I come from the future? And I have news for you. If I have time travel technology, I'm not utilizing it for something as dumb as this. So, nonetheless, we have a lot to get to today. But first, I'm going to put myself over on the Instagram, and I want to hear, what have you guys been feeling about UFC BJJ so far? Have you enjoyed it? If so, what have you enjoyed? On today's episode, we're actually going to be reviewing the third episode. So we've already talked about episode 1, where Andrew Tackett made his triumphant advancement to the second round. We also saw the upset yesterday that was Isaac Doederlein. The one thing that we did caution, though, is, Keith is a dear friend on this show, and I love him dearly, but Isaac should not have been ranked 8th. And I was very surprised by that. Nonetheless, Isaac does move on to the second round, if not a little more exhausted for his efforts. And don't worry, been there myself, because I have rolled with Keith a couple times, and it is not the funnest. That dude is pretty good at jiu-jitsu, so it hurt a lot. Let's put it that way. To our friends joining us on Instagram, hello. Apologies. We thought we would have a much clearer version of this. It was supposed to be sending a signal. We did a test. It didn't work, but you can see me now. So say hello here. And if you don't hear my audio, just tell me that and I will fix it on that side. But to the rest of you yahoos, I hope that answers your question. I like that I got a response. Cool. Appreciate that. We're not trying to put on live shows that aren't. What's up, Sportswear UK? I'm sure you'll be a dear or sir or madam email a little bit later asking me if I want to print out some gear. I do not, but thank you for watching. Nonetheless, we have some business to get to, so why don't we go and start the show by getting straight to all of the things we wanted to talk about. This week, we saw the emergence of Cowboy Jared Leto, and one thing that kind of stuck out to me about Austin on this episode, I don't know if you can tell, but right off the top, right in this general region, a little bit of a mark. That dude had some cut, let's say that. Let's hope it's not ring herpes. What's up, Jiu-Jitsu memes? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, he had some face herpes there. But it's odd because I want to say when he weighed in, he didn't have that. So this is how you can tell the time continuum is all over the place on these episodes. So it is a little hard to play what's going on here. And one of the few things that you get to see is immediately at the beginning of episode 3, we see him off to the races, and he's already working on bottom, which if this is your episode, I think there has to be a rule that you have to be the one driving the action. You can't be a reactionary grappler. I say this myself as a reactionary grappler, so just putting that out there. And if you were wondering if Austin is good vibes, don't worry. Rerisson is here to tell you, yes, he is indeed good vibes. So we get that. And I think that's a good affirmation. And I have to say on this episode, seeing Rerisson be a little bit more of a coach, it is a little bit more fun because I haven't necessarily got a full sense of him as a coach yet. But nonetheless, one of the first things I really see is the emergence of a truly interesting character on the show, which is Austin's dog. Look at that little guy. That dude did not want to walk anymore, and he made his owner carry him. And listen, pro all that. So this dog, his Q rating is going to go through the roof. Big fan of this kid. We also find that when Austin gets bored, he goes to shoot things. Cool. Like, this is what I talk about when I say character development. This is true to him, but also entirely boring to watch. So, like, I don't care that he shoots guns. It also, just from a sports kind of perspective, it shows you, like, oh, hey, here's another interesting sport that he does when he's not doing the one that's not popular yet. So there is that. Didn't really care for what was happening there, but we move on to finding out more and more about him and what happens. And we see some background footage of him competing. And I have to be perfectly honest, you know, the long, luscious hair of Cowboy Jared Leto is nice. I think I prefer the mullet version. I think this mullet version is truer to his sense, at least for me, just from the few seconds I've been able to tell on this episode. But a very welcoming presence on the show. And, you know, we kind of get the sense he's an underdog. If anybody has ever paid attention to Davis Asari, you know that he is a problem on the mats. If you've seen him on the PGF, you knew that this dude sometimes would be undersized and people would still fear grappling with him. So just saying, he was up against a lot on this episode. What didn't help the matters at all were the fact that there was a runtime of 19 minutes, which probably was going to tell you this was not going to be a super long episode. But nonetheless, this is very heavy in the first few seconds, and Austin tells you, you know, he loves being from Texas. That's why he wears a hat, in case you were confused. His name is Austin, so his family must very much love Texas. And yeah, there's not a ton that happens that is surprising here, but we get a little bit of background narration on him. I have some questions for you guys, though. Did you know that it is important to have a family dinner? Now, why is this important for us? Well, I was told on the previous episode, or led to believe, that only Italians do this. Turns out other families do this too, which is kind of wild. In this particular setting, for Rerisson, it is important for him to have a family team dinner, and I think it is kind of cool. I think it is important that the teams get to know each other better, and they do that. And from that perspective, I'm very happy to see that they have this moment of extrapolating, at least getting to know each other. But one thing really struck me, and I want to keep this photo on here. Somehow, Rerisson had never had a taco before. Young man, I'm just curious how you could go about this life, this good jiu-jitsu bro culture world life, and never have a taco. It baffled me. I was sitting there for about a good minute and a half. I paused the episode, full disclosure, and I just thought, like, how did this dude live without ever having a taco? That doesn't make any sense to me. And it definitely made me question if I trust this guy. Like, can you really truly trust a guy who's never had a taco before? I digress. What's up, Marty? Thank you for following me. Marty, Star Wars 3928. Appreciate you giving the love here. Thank you for watching. If you do like it, hearts, likes, comments, all that good stuff. I do see a note here before I move on, at least in regards to Austin, and or as we're calling him, Cowboy Jared Leto. And this is a note from Brian that says, Ordine is a gamer, though. Bro's been at every IBJJF Open for the past 5 years. That's cool. It's not to say that he doesn't deserve the slot. I'm not sure about his 6th seed placement. And I think it's a rough draw to get Davis Asari for any of us. So I think in those two regards, I was a little bit weary of his odds or his chances. Having said that, let's go back to the most appealing part of him. Look at this dog. That's an adorable dog. Literally, this is the smartest thing you can do in the UFC. If you have pets, show them. It makes absolutely no sense to have a pet and not show them in the UFC. It's an easy way to like a fighter. And even if you're the most abhorrent heel in there, if you have a pet, it's a pretty good way of being like, this guy's not so bad. So, nonetheless, it was very interesting to see the team come together. And this is something that threw me off. So it says on there that they're going back to the UFC BJJ house. Sure, fine, no problem. But why is Rerisson welcoming the team into the house as if it's his? Mikey, I could understand if he's welcoming people to his house. To my knowledge, I don't think Rerisson lives there, and if he did, he sure as hell didn't invite them to his house. Unless the UFC BJJ house is his house, which I very much doubt. So having him go ahead of everybody and welcoming them to the UFC BJJ house, the whole crew, is performance art at its silliest. Because it's literally like somebody at your Airbnb showing up before you and welcome you into that establishment. Sir, this is not your house. What are we doing here? I get that it is trying to show him being a good team leader, but when I say these are the weird things that they do for reality TV formatting, this is the stuff you can cut. Legitimately, this is the silly stuff that is the fluff, and it's part of the reason why I still make my case. I think UFC BJJ is better suited for, honestly, the Dana White's Contender Series. So there you have that. But having said that, maybe in the future, I'm going to start inviting people over to the Airbnb and welcoming them and being like, hello, welcome to my humble abode. And they're like, dude, we all split this Airbnb. You can't welcome me here. But like, I just did. Power move. Power move. Nonetheless, you're trying to establish that he's the coach. He's in charge. And something happens that helps that. Better than that storyline. We could have cut that part out. Instead, we got the gaming of arm wrestling. Yes, turns out he is Rerisson, brought to this team for his great wrestling. No, not his stand-up one. The arm variation kind. And I think the weird part of this is there's kind of a moment here where he shows that, yeah, he's a smaller guy. How does this pick up? Who challenges who? I want to know who from the cast started this or who from the production team was like, I think you guys should arm wrestle. Who said that? You guys, yeah, definitely arm wrestle. What's happening? I was just, can anybody arm wrestle? It'd be really cool if somebody did. Anyway, I'm going to step behind this camera again. It's the weird parts that it's hard for me to understand. A lot of these guys are hyper competitive. They find dumb stuff to do. Playing basketball, I kind of believe. Arm wrestling is, how boring did the conversation get? Unless I know who initiated it, and we didn't get that information. So we just see it there. But I think the interesting thing about that as a storyline is that you get this sense from the dudes afterwards when they realize like, oh, I shouldn't have picked on this littler dude, which by the way, kind of a power move from the bigger dudes that really blew up in their face when they go, oh, I can punk this dude. Let me arm wrestle. Oh shit, he's stronger than me. Damn. So it's like all of them saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, at the same time, all of them kind of saying like Johnny or Andy in particular going, I don't know if I respected this guy until I got owned by him in wrestling. So now I'm like, he can be a good coach. Yeah, I believe in him now. Like, did you not believe in him before? Was that the one thing that set it in? Or is this just some weird team building exercise where they go, fuck it. Yeah, whatever. This dude's here. And it says, and only a 19-minute show. Surprised there wasn't more character development. No, there's no character to develop here. Literally, this was enough. You had enough time for Cowboy Jared Leto and Davis told a very good story. I liked hearing about his family. Cowboy Jared Leto showed his dog. Literally, after showing his dog, they could have cut right there. Be like, here's my dog, here I am, and I'm competing. Bam. So those are the things I probably would have been there. I think the tough part is I don't want to speak for the editors. I know they had to do a lot of work in a short amount of time, but did these editors get bored by us? I'm wondering if that's the case. I know they have to sift through a lot of discussion, a lot of things. Apparently, there was word on one of the social media profiles that said there was a 2-hour discussion of the eco versus drilling conversation that they mercifully cut down to 1 minute and 30 seconds worth of TV time, which I argue still too much time for something so stupid to talk about and debate. Because what's a dude who's drinking a beer, who's watching this show, gonna do when they start going off and being like, I think drilling is good. I think drilling is stupid. Meh, meh, meh. Dumb. Really annoying. Kind of embarrassing. That's why I feel for the editors to sit there and go, okay, let me time code this. What did they say? Oh, this dude said that drilling's kind of important, and this other dude didn't. Okay, this is a good conversation, everybody. Hey, you know what, though? It's to tee off UFC arm wrestling series. That's actually not a bad thing. Still a better sport than power slap. And I will say, we did discover that in yesterday's episode. UFC BJJ, there's not a ton we can say we do better than everything else, but I bet you we can say with certainty, better than power slap. We're doing it. You know what it is? UFC BJJ, better than power slap, better than power slap, better than power slap. Take that. Yeah. But you know what the problem is? We don't have the views of power slap. We're doing pretty well. If you've looked at episode 1, it's done about 450K. Now, some of that I assume is heavily promoted. I don't want to say that they've bought some of those views, but sometimes you can skew that on the YouTube. I'm just saying, hey, listen, I think this is a good thing for us to actually be in a space where we are not only competitive with other sports, but we look a lot more legit than power slap ever did. Not that that was a high bar to do. But while we're at it, I already coined the phrases UFC. No, I didn't coin that one. I coined WWE BJJ, which essentially was them stealing it and taking it for UFC BJJ. So I wonder if UFC arm wrestling, UFC over the top, did it. You're welcome. God, I'm so good at this. Did it. Done. Sign the check. Send me some tickets, Dana. Let's move on, shall we? So whenever Mikey gets into these character fits, it's like he looks like somebody in a movie, like the kid in the movie that doesn't die by the end of it, but that you're really concerned he might die. So that's a lot of the character development I get. Like, they give you a sense that maybe it's not looking good, and he tells you, or the action hero, that he really hopes he makes it and lives till tomorrow. It's kind of the vibe I get on all those talking heads. Nonetheless, here's an interesting little facet of this episode. Mikey really gelled with Davis Asari, which is interesting because with Aaron, I don't know if he was just like, I don't like your odds. Maybe I just don't gel with you. I don't get a full sense of that. They had to cut very quickly on that stuff. So maybe he did work with him. We saw him work with him a little bit. But I think him saying on the episode, I really clicked with Davis, he's a huge nerd, and that really put me in the same space. I couldn't help but think part of that could be the fact that he knows Davis comes from a prestigious gym with Gordon and Danaher, and being a Danaher student kind of makes him as somebody who's probably going to do well. So maybe Mikey wasn't afraid to hitch his wagon and kind of say like, well, you're going to be good. I know that. So let me just add a little bit of my secret sauce here. But it just made me think. It was something I noticed in terms of his description of how he was seeing this interaction plays. He was like, well, I like him, and I hope he says that for other people on his team. But this is the first time for Mikey as a coach that I thought, okay, this is what I would hoped he would be as a coach. Now, granted, there's a lot we don't see, a lot of cutting room floor, as evidence, eco versus drilling conversations. So a lot of that gets put under the wayside. So it's hard to say here. I want to bring this up. Look at this hand holding technique by Andy Varela, who looks like he's trying to be a reporter here. And I got to tell you, just from seeing this visual, my job is never in danger. Here's why. Look at this amateur handhold that you are seeing from the incredibly talented jiu-jitsu grappler and incredibly green interviewer. This dude literally just puts his hand out there. Like he's holding it like they hold a gat in a movie where they do that turn, that kill shot sort of thing. Like that's the equivalent of holding it here. Little lessons from the pro. Yes, you can angle it up, but actually sometimes the best way is to actually bend the arm a little bit so that you get the full angle. Notice, this is at an angle. When you are interviewing people, you want to get that nice traction of hitting it. If you basically just put it in their face, you're doing a Bill Hader character. There's a character on SNL that Bill Hader does where anytime this old dude that he's playing interviews somebody, he just gets the microphone and pushes it into their face. So I don't know what this was, but it definitely wasn't something that made me shake in my boots for what I do. Nice try though, Andy. Love seeing the hustle on that. But nonetheless, there's this weird moment where Andy is trying to stir up some drama. So I can appreciate that. He's basically being bull-shaped Nina drama here. And I feel like as he's doing it, he is trying to get them to trash talk each other. It's all in good fun. But Davis doesn't necessarily take the bait. And even more so, Davis has a very quiet confidence. Like, I think he knew he was probably going to do well. And nothing more so than when they said, this is going to be a real intense match. So Cowboy Jarrett Leto tells Davis Asari, oh man, I think this is going to be the best match of our division. And Davis has this face that made me want to zoom in a little bit closer, just so you could see, like, this is the face of a dude who knows he's going to win. I've seen him do this face. If you've watched him at PGF, he's very quiet about his confidence, but this was a dude who's like, I don't think I'm going to take long to submit you. All due respect to Austin. I think he was already seeing the next step for himself. Just saying. I want to point this out because this to me is very awkward. It feels like Claudia shows up every episode just to say, hey guys, hello and welcome. Welcome to the weigh-ins. And that's like her one line. If there's anything I'm thinking, it's that her job is the most replaceable by AI. Hear me out. You build a one-time AI welcoming sort of mechanism, a hologram if you would, and basically you can save money and you can do that in perpetuity. It could also be the thing that welcomes you into the Performance Institute when you go there. But if there's no variation to what she says, the lower third will do just fine in telling us, guess what? You're at the Performance Center. Let's just go. And guess what? It's a weigh-in because there's a scale there. And also, never forget my homeboy, UFC weigh-in dude, who's also, I think, secretly a judge. He has a lot of swag just doing nothing. Just literally pretending to chew gum. That dude, that's the guy to watch. I think that's a power player. Nonetheless, Davis, they'd kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier in the episode where they said, hey, Davis, you just need to make weight. And there's nothing that inspires confidence quite like praying on the scale that you did actually make the weight. So he makes the weight. It's great. We end up doing this. And we end up kind of getting the sense that this isn't going to be a long episode. Any of us who have watched episodes of The Ultimate Fighter in the past, we kind of know time. So if you see there's about 20 minutes left in the episode, you're probably guaranteed at least a round or two if you've watched by UFC Ultimate Fighter timelines. Here, it's at about the 12 or 13 minute that you're going to start the match, and you know they have to do some exit exposition and preview to the next episode. So when I saw that going on, I was like, yeah, I feel like that's going to happen real quick. And yeah, it does. But not before a significant moment that begs the question, do you have to dap somebody up before you go to war with them? If you're Davis Asari, you respond when someone extends a courtesy, a hand, in a form of competition, and you respond with a spear. My man turned into Goldberg right in front of our eyes. Literally, bam, right into the midsection, gets a takedown. Now, I know I saw Alex Wendling actually putting up a poll about this saying, like, I don't know, what do you guys feel about this? And I feel it's a valid question. I'm more so in the vein of it didn't have an effect on the overall result in my brain, so I don't even care. Plus, you're all trying to compete, and once you start, you don't have to do it. It's like touching gloves. It's a courtesy that you can sometimes do, but you don't have to. And I didn't lose anything. I felt like he would have gotten the takedown anyway. So womp womp gets the takedown. And Cowboy Jared Leto is under some duress here. So I don't really want to get into too much on what he could have done because, as Brian has alluded a little bit earlier in the show, he is a game competitor. I just know Davis's game pretty well, so I wasn't surprised by this in the least. What I will say is, man, my heart hurt when I saw him injured. Because as much as this is characters on a show, for me, getting hurt and knowing like it's not the UFC Ultimate Fighter timeline where they might have shot it 6 months ago and now they're back up and walking. You knew that this was filmed more recently. So I'm hoping he's okay. On the episode, you see him on crutches, but this was one of those moments that I thought I didn't truly love, this reaction face that he had when they were just barely putting some pressure on the foot. You know, Austin, I wish you the best. You have an excellent dog. You seem like a good guy. That part hurt. I didn't love seeing that. But it is part of the game. If you're Mikey, who reminds everybody, like, this is a violent sport. You guys have to know it's violent. It's very violent. So, yep, definitely not fun to see. And I'll say this. I mean, Austin made it for the hand raise here. So that's pretty commendable to make sure you can give your opponent their moment, because you also know that Davis, like you, were waiting to have this happen forever, and you did make it happen. So congrats to you guys. In any event, there's like a small hush on the episode. Like, oh man, that sucks. Maybe about 2 seconds before they go, and tomorrow we're doing bowling. Hey, everybody. We're all getting laid. And they just show everybody clapping and cheering. So you don't hang up on the injury for too long because we got some bowling to do. And I don't know if this is the official coach's challenge yet. It's hard to determine if that's what they're doing on this. But there is a moment that spoke out to me, and I'd like to see if you guys feel the same way too. But who holds money like this? Like, who, like, literally, if I hold this note card and I literally pick it up with my hands, like, maybe I kind of hold it like this. Mikey is holding the dollar at the midpoint of the dollar and pinching it. I think he's doing this gesture again. Like, I think Homeboy needs to understand he is not an emoji. You can literally just hold it up like this, like, hey, we're going to do this. This grip to me says, and maybe this is a bad thing for some of you, but I think those of you who are real ones, you'll understand. This tells me you've never been to a strip club. Like, nobody holds their dollars like this to the stripper. Like, nobody goes, hey, what's your name? Hold on. I've got a little something for you, ma'am. Here you go. I don't know what to do with this. This is a lot. They don't explain that they're doing anything other than gambling. I fear for what it is. It feels like the way they explain it, and it's leaving it to Mikey to do the talking head stuff where he goes, we're betting on how people are going to do things. And I go, I wouldn't understand what that is. And as a compulsive gambler, I need to know what the rules are. Like, that is a number one concern to me, is tell me the rules, tell me what we're doing, and I'll tell you yes or no. Also, what are the betting odds? Like, those are all the things I want to know. Having said all that, we do have a hell of a match tomorrow. Tomorrow on the UFC BJJ episodes, we do get a great moment. It's going to be Carlos Enrique versus Yanni Grippo, and that to me is a very fun sounding match. So I feel like that to me is the appeal of staying with this. You know, today, a little bit of narration, quick match, mostly likable guys. Not super exciting. Again, just kind of exists. The nice part is they're mercifully keeping all the bullshit to like 2 minutes. But yesterday's episode felt so nice because it was a good match, good back and forth, and at the very least, it went quickly. I see here from PR, who is making a declarative statement, Grippo for the win. I don't know, man. I think so. I think he's got to be. Yeah, that's tough. It's a good match. I think you are right. I am inclined to say what you say. The only thing that strikes out to me on this is, I don't know how Yanni feels about being the number 5 seed, because he's also really good too. A lot of the seeding I couldn't quite make or break it. So that part to me is more the concern. I'm not even worried if he wins or not. He's obviously super good. So I would love to see him show out, but thank you for that very nice word there. I want to go back up to one of these because somebody brought in a great comment that I didn't have a chance to address. But for Claudia, this comes from Bello, who says, that's replaceable by a parrot. Now, yes, that's probably true. But a parrot has to be told to say it first. So it's like you still have to have somebody on set that just goes, hey, it's time for weigh-ins. And then the parrot's like, time for a weigh-in. So it might take a little bit of stop down time in order to make that happen. You just want talent to be able to go out there and do what they need to do. Yeah, my main concern is not that she's not an important person for the show. She right now is essentially going to be the Dana White because Dana White's not coming. And she definitely is behind the scenes with a lot of this stuff. It's just, if she's just coming to say like, hey, what's up? It's time for weigh-ins. Okay, cool. Episode 1, no problem. She did it yesterday. Hey guys, what's up? It's time for weigh-ins. Do you have any other combinations of words? Like, you can say other things, right? It's time for weigh-ins. I mean, I'm starting to like it more that I'm hearing it out loud. Nonetheless. It says, what you watching? Like, outside of this, today we were watching the UFC BJJ episode. But outside of this, my wife tries to get me to watch trash TV, and I hate it. So she's on this, like, I think spinoff of 90 Day Fiance that's just Fuck Island, essentially. I hate it. Finally finishing Severance. Thank God. I've been so busy. It's been hard to actually sit down and do that one. I'm trying to think what else we've recently watched and finished. There's been a lot of stuff. But I'll answer your other question here because I think that's more pertinent. Do you do jiu-jitsu? The answer is yes. Do I do it well? Up for debate. But yes, been training for a long, long time. And what's great about this is a number of the people on the show are friends of the show. And I've gotten the ability to train with a couple of them, I think. Some of them we haven't trained, but I for sure interviewed about half of that cast. So it is so dope to see our friends going out and doing incredible things. So yeah, that is, those are a couple of answers for you. Thank you very much for those questions. You can feel free to ask me some more questions while I'm still on with you guys. But I will tell you this. The thing I have seen in these 3 episodes now is it's just been really interesting to see them progress on a few things. Yes, we're getting good views. I think that's been really good. But I want to go back and address 2 small things that I've seen in the show. One, they keep calling this apparatus the octagon. And for me, an octagon that I've become accustomed to is a cage. Like, I thought we were supposed to call this an octabowl. I call it a taco bowl. I'm not changing on that. But every time they say it, they're using it in their syntax where they go, man, I love being in the octagon. And I go, man, just because UFC has been so ingrained in our brains, when I hear somebody say they're going to go in the octagon, it's to fight. So this is a problem that the UFC caused, that I'm trying to manage with my own thoughts and expectations. Also, who knew that Cowboy Jared Leto was related to Carlos Enrique? It starts to kind of bring into question, like, were they trying to save costs on the travel? Because I read somewhere that Kayvon, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. My apologies. I thought it's Kayvon, I don't know. Kayvan. Dude who makes the memes. I heard he was a friend of Gianni Grippo's, and that Gianni probably leveraged the show to get him on, because a lot of people are wondering how he got on. And I can tell you he's got a great following, and I assume he's very good at jiu-jitsu. I've heard good things. Good enough to be on versus other people? I don't know. And a bigger question is, did they put him on the show to be a dunkable? A dunkable, as defined by the PGF, is sometimes you throw in people to get a highlight. Like, their job is, hey, it's all good if they do well, but we fully expect them to likely get highlight reeled so that we can get shareable content. So, I don't know. There is that. Ilya or Oliveira? Oh, man, this hurts. Mateo. Oh, man. Let me tell you this right now. I think Ilya looks like a champ. Like, he dresses like a champ. He acts like it. And I know some of you guys follow his antics. I don't really care for that. But when I've seen him make his public appearances, he looks good. And in that cage, my man is really dialed in. I think it's all his world. I love Chucky Olives. It hurts me that they're giving this match to him, because I feel like he's at a point in his life where this is not the match. I don't want to see this one. So, saying that, you said he even trained with me. Is that Grippo? Or are you saying that he trained with you? Because that must be really good training, man. I can only assume. You can tell him if you did train with him, though. He has not responded to any of my interview requests. And that dude is somebody who I would like to interview, but we just don't know each other. So hopefully in some time, if you're rolling with him and right before you submit to, not saying you're bad, just assuming based off of, him. Just be like, hey, man, you should really be on the Grappling Hour. I think you'd be good on there. Raph won't make fun of you anymore. And it says, have you met Ilya, and is he smaller in person? No, I haven't met him yet. I'm trying to think if I would have connections to him. MMA and jiu-jitsu is a very small community. More so on the grappling side. But I also wouldn't care if he's tall or not. I feel like that's something that only should interest you if you're trying to date somebody. Like, women should be looking at dudes and being like, hey, this dude's 5'7". I don't know, I'm 5'3". I don't know if I like that with heels. Like, to me, I don't care how tall you are. Unless I'm trying to pass your guard. Because if you're tall and I'm trying to pass your guard, not my friend. I hate how quickly you guys can regard. A note here from Bujigatami. When are we getting a viewership breakdown of this like you did for CJI? See, that's where we are going to be at a standstill, because Craig was nice enough to give me that information. So I got more insights from them. I do not think the UFC will give that to me. I can tell you base knowledge of that. So there is that information. I would pass that on over to you. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the hint. It takes me a second because I see this. Listen, bro, in your thing, Pat, you've got a headshot. Most of these people don't have a headshot. Look at this next comment I'm about to put up right here. This dude doesn't have a headshot. I don't even know what this is. I can't even see what it looks like a seized candy that's in a stocking. And it says, because people keep mentioning the size difference between Oliveira and Topera and how it might play an impact. Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't say that to him right when I see him. Like, damn, you're tall. I don't think it's going to play that big of a factor. I think Ilya is very calm, collected. I think he's been really solid in all of his efforts. I would be incredibly surprised if Chucky Olives does beat him. But if he does, huge upside, because I loved Oliveira. I love that dude. And he's just so good that I just want him to have good things. But when I see him getting paired up with people like this, I think, yikes, don't love that match. It's essentially the Michael Scott meme of, don't Love that. No, that's me. that's a lot of the way that I look when I see whoever they pair up Chucky Olives with in the world of MMA and fighting. I just want him to have a good exit. Like, I'd love to see this dude do amazing things on his way out. So that is kind of my hope there. Nonetheless, you guys, I'm starting to circle to be finished here unless you have any last minute questions for me. But in the meantime, I have to tell you, tomorrow's match, very excited about. Been very excited to watch this show. And like I said, some of you have wondered, like, why are we going live every day? Well, I feel like the thing is, we've bitched about wanting this show for so long that now that we got it, I feel like I'm supposed to do this thing. It's just like, listen, you can't bitch about something you want, and then once they give it to you, go like, eh. So I'm showing up. This is my due diligence here. And it says, I hope Oliveira can win the belt again. You and me both, bud. There's a whole group of us that are huge Oliveira fans that would love to see something like that happen again. But I'm not sure if space, time, or fate will do that. Nonetheless, double checking the last of this. Yeah. You know what? I had a better way that I like to say that the nerds on the team. Let me pull up this photo again. I'll do this one just for marking down time and space. When these guys were doing the arm wrestling and they had a moment when they decided that they actually believed in him, the actual thing that I wrote out was, how silly are these nerds that they're like, I didn't believe in this guy until he could over the top me. Now I'm a believer. So like, that's where over the top came. That's how you know. UFC over the top, the arm wrestling competition. That's what we got to do. And yeah, I think for the most part, there's a lot of things that are happening in UFC BJJ that are mostly good. So we're trying to stay on the good side while we can, while roasting the little miniature things that have been kind of dumb and silly. Nonetheless, my friends, I think that's going to do it for our work here today. We will be back here, I assume, tomorrow, where we'll do some more discussions on the UFC BJJ series. They're doing them daily. I don't know if they're doing them over the weekends. I would like to have a weekend break, but I'm not so sure I'm going to get that. So, is what it is. We asked for this life, and now we're going to get it. So, you know what's also weird? I just want to bring this up. The little thing that caught me today by surprise that actually made me laugh was the moment Elijah Carlton looked out and goes, do we got a scale here? Like, that's the one comment he's had. And he was supposed to be the heel, at least in this world. And you put him on the even bigger show from the PGF to this, and this dude is being anything but a heel. So this face turn that he's done, we'll have to see if it's all the way through on the show. But if not, tune back into that. I did see this in the show, though, where he's gripping a lot of hair and pulling it. So who knows exactly how that one's going to end up. Anyway, if you like the show, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you can, share it where you can. I hope that you guys enjoy this. We have so much more coming in here. And I'll answer this, Mateo. You said, who is your favorite jiu-jitsu practitioner? That is way too small. We got to pump that up right now. Who's your favorite jiu-jitsu practitioner? That's a great question. I like a lot of the homies, so a lot of really good people like Chris Wojcik. I have a lot of respect for his game. I've stolen a lot from what he's done. Even morons like Gary Tonin, who have been a long-time nemesis for me, I've always learned a lot from his game. I can't do what he does, obviously, but I like learning the concepts from him. Craig's really good, not just from the comedy standpoint, but he has really good techniques. And I still think the best video instructor is probably Lachlan. Like, Lachlan, when he nerds out, it's the best kind of instructional to watch. And I want to say I developed a half guard because of him, but it's not good yet. So, still in the process of being fixed. But thank you for that question, Mateo. Anyways, as I was saying, if you like the show, check us out. We're on patreon.com/grappling hour. Go there. You'll see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. We just started putting up all the sets of interviews for cast members of the PGF. We will be one of the few destinations that will get interviews on a regular basis. So get excited for that. Additionally, check out the other stuff that we put up there, extra bonus content, only available to my Patreon users. It really does mean a lot, your support there. So please go check us out, patreon.com/grappling hour. You can also check us out on all social media. We're at Grappling Hour on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all that good jazz. Follow us wherever it is convenient to you or wherever you like it. Really appreciate that. Last couple reminders, you can get some Grappling Hour merch. So this shirt that I'm wearing right here, you can find that at raphaesparza.com/merch. Get you some Grappling Hour hoodies and t-shirts. That goes directly back into the show. And as a reminder, this Friday, we're doing a roast of our friend Kevin Sherrill on an episode of The Bullpen. So you don't want to miss that. That is Friday, 2 p.m. Best Coast time, 5 p.m. East Coast time. So get excited for that. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, you can also find us on Discord at Grappling Hour. Ladies and gents, thank you so much. We'll be back here tomorrow, I think, probably, for some more breakdowns of all things UFC BJJ. Until then, my name is Rafa Esparza. Thank you so much for watching today. We appreciate you. We love you.